What is going on, everybody? My name is Bronco Juggalo.
And Bill.
And today we are back with the castle the king built.
Yes, and today we're bringing you Stephen King's 1983 Christine.
Car classic, 80s classic. Depending on how you look at it, it could be considered 50s classic because it's kind of done in that style.
Yeah.
You know. Guys, this of course is directed by the great John Carpenter, who we all love. We have Arnie, who's played by Keith Gordon. In 1957, a possessed car rolls off the assembly line and into horror history. Now it's 1978, and that car has been resurrected by 17-year-old nerd Arnie. And when the car becomes obsessed with him, that's when the terror really begins.
Or does he become obsessed with the car?
Kind of a little bit of both. They both change in the movie. They both, or the car is very much protective and obsessed with him. And he becomes obsessed with the car. So it does kind of go both ways. Get it?
Yeah.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Comparisons to the book.
I have not actually read this one.
I have. I've read it. I own it. It's a great book.
Take it away.
In the book, Christine the car is actually possessed by its former owner.
Oh.
In the movie, it comes possessed off the assembly line. Once again, because of the having to adapt things to a movie format, cut things down. Christine's a pretty long book. They had to change a few things, so it was just easier to say that it was possessed right away.
Okay, I can see that.
Two original picks for the leads in this film were actually Scott Baio and Brooke Shields.
Really?
But neither one of them, I guess, wanted to do it, or they passed. Kevin Bacon was then cast in the role of Arnie. Well, Kevin Bacon at that time had done just a few things. He had done Friday the 13th. He played a couple smaller roles. He did the role in Animal House. But when he was getting ready to do this role, he got confirmation that he was to star in the movie Footloose. And I guess he figured that would be the bigger movie, which honestly it is.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He made a wise decision to go over and star in Footloose. But this is still a classic in its own right, and a classic not just in the horror world, but in the Stephen King universe.
Yeah.
There are Stephen King fans everywhere that love this movie. The funniest thing that I found out about this movie is that John Carpenter only took the job to do Christine because of the failure of The Thing.
Oh.
The Thing was a bomb in the box office. People were hating on it left and right. Now we can't understand that. It's considered a classic.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was an absolute terrible thing for his career. And he literally thought nobody was going to hire him again. So he went out as fast as he could to find another directing job to get on a movie so he could show what he could do again. Now, this is back in 1983, only 5 years after Halloween. He wasn't considered the master yet. You know what I mean? It took a bit longer to be considered the master.
Yeah.
He gets the job to direct Christine. He was pretty much half starving at the time. And good news is Christine was a hit for him. So
there you go. Or else we might have not gotten anything else from him.
Right. So guys, it is now time for pros and cons. We're going to start with cons because I've got honestly less of those.
Yeah, I've got less too.
Why don't you start us off, Bill?
Okay. I really have only kind of one big con for this movie is that our character Arnie is this nerdy kid, and then all of a sudden he buys a car and automatically turns into badass Arnie. It's from nerdy Arnie to badass
Like
Arnie.
so, he became possessed or obsessed. And
Yeah,
maybe even a little
yeah.
possessed, and he started getting like he completely changed who he was.
Yeah, he just,
No.
but it was not gradual. It was,
Yeah. Oh, at least in the movie it's gradual. We don't know actually how long it might have been. It feels gradual because, or it feels right away because it's in the movie.
was the book different on that part?
The book takes some time. It takes some time.
Okay.
It's not a, but they don't say in the movie that it's been 2 weeks or whatever. They just
Hate how it was kind of like flipping a light switch.
Ever since he got that car, that's all they say. They don't give a time frame of how long it's been.
No, and I just don't like that because it just seems like flipping a light switch. Usually changes like that don't happen. They can, but
right.
They usually don't. So that kind of bugged me that all of a sudden, just bang, we're a nerd, flip the light switch, now we're Billy Badass.
I get it. I get it.
I didn't like it.
My one and only con is Will Ostrander, who is the character Ripperton. I hated his acting. You could tell this guy was trying to be Travolta in this fucking role, and I just fucking hated it. He was trying to be badass Travolta, and I thought he was terrible. I did not like his acting at all. I loved it when he got killed. He was the annoying character that I didn't like, but he was supposed to be the bully. He was supposed to be, and I didn't buy him as the bully. I didn't buy him. I didn't buy him in that Travolta look. I didn't buy him as the bully. You know, yes, this movie's based in the 70s, but it's very 50s oriented. And that's because both Stephen King and John Carpenter have big love for the 50s. Both of them do.
Yeah. Okay, I can see it.
Any more cons?
I don't have any.
I'm going to start off pros then. First pro, the cars. Now,
that's a big pro of mine too.
There is a few real Plymouth Furies used in this thing. One of the cool things about the Plymouth Fury that you don't know, you might not know, when you see all the cars on the assembly line, those cars they look pink to me, but
they look cream color to me.
That was some sort. It's actually some sort of beige. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but that was the only color that the Furies came in. The fact that there was a red Fury on the line that was custom made just for the movie. Red Fury with gold, no gold, because the other ones had gold trim.
Mm-hmm.
Actual like gold, they used actual gold leaf paint. I just thought it was cool. I thought the look of them was great. They also used a couple other Plymouth models for some of the shots, like the crashing shots, things like that. In total, I think they said they used something like 45 cars in total on the set. But there was only 2 or 3 of the really nice regular Plymouth Furies.
Yeah.
But it's not just the Plymouth Furies. There is a bound of muscle cars in this
everywhere.
Film, and I fucking loved it. And
I love it too, man. I love classic cars.
Me too.
And I love watching movies like this just to see the classic cars sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't go outside and drive around and see very many of them anymore.
Yeah, that's one of my big things. Like, one of my favorite movies I've said is a bunch of times is Dazed and Confused. And I'd love just looking at all the old cool cars in there.
Yeah.
There is one thing, though. Right at the beginning, in the parking lot, when the dude's cruising around, there's a 79 Nova in the parking lot. But the movie was supposed to be set in 76.
Oops. That's an oopsie, you know. Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. Plus, a lot of people anymore wouldn't even notice.
Yeah. You know, that's a movie that I actually wouldn't mind reviewing sometime. I want to start expanding more on the Bronco Juggle Talks movies, not just talks horror.
Well,
now, my non-horror... Yeah, my non-horror usually get less views, but oh well.
Well, if you want to do it, you want to do it.
Yep, exactly.
Go ahead.
So, I'm sorry, it is your turn. Go ahead with your con, sir.
Pro.
I'm sorry, it's your turn. Go ahead with your pro, sir.
All right. My first pro for this film is the score of this movie. John Carpenter has always been good with his movie scores. And the music in this film is awesome, just like all of his films, I don't think I've seen a film of John Carpenter's that I didn't like the music.
Yeah.
And this film is no exception. He picks great songs to go in his movie. Like, you got songs like Bad to the Bone. And that's just a classic one for this time period.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You probably agree with me on that.
That was actually my very next point that I was going to bring up. The score, the original music that John Carpenter wrote is great. Like Christine's theme, Christine's Anger, Arnie's theme. All those songs are great. And the music is just beautiful. And it goes so well with this film.
Yes.
But also the soundtrack. The 50s music that he used. Plus the George Thorogood kind of throwback bluesy music, 1970s.
It was perfect.
Even though that was played during the 50s time when the car was made. But you get it, on the day I was born,
Yeah.
That's why he put it in that part, because the car was being born. It fits, and it works, and all the songs. And I like 50s rock. I know some people think, oh, whatever, but I love 50s rock. I really do. I'm a huge Elvis fan.
He is.
But I thought it was great. I love the music in it. I like the 50s, too. I think the 50s was a cool era. And I would like to time travel back to the 50s and the 60s. One for the fun, the other for the drugs.
Yeah.
Oh. So my next pro is actually the writing and the story. Now, of course, we have a great story by Stephen King.
Of course.
But I thought it was very well adapted in a movie format. Yes, there's some changes. Yes, there's some things that are not, as particularly brutal as your imagination come up with as you're reading it. There's some things that they had to take out and leave out, and you're kind of like, oh, but this wasn't one of my favorite books, so I actually like the movie more than I like the book. This is one of the few cases where that's true.
Okay.
I like the movie more than I like the book. So I loved how they did the screenwriting on this. I thought it was a great job. The adaptation is great, and I'm 100% behind it.
I agree. This was a pro of mine as well, is the story, adapting it to the big screen. Because as we all know, there have been a lot of shit put out from Stephen King books.
Oh, yeah.
Lots.
Some that are so bad they're good, but there's a lot of crap, too. Just flat out crap. In fact, for the longest time, I quit watching Stephen King adaptations because they just ruined the books for me.
Yeah, they were bad.
I mean, I know that people love it, but that original, it just bugs the shit out of me. I hate that movie.
It doesn't bug me as much, but to each their own.
I really like that new one, though.
Yeah.
That part 2 was amazing. Anyways, what's your next pro, brother?
Okay, my next pro for this film would have to be the resurrecting of Christine after she's destroyed again by the bullies. And then after, I don't know how they did those shots. If they, reversed the shot, filmed it getting smashed and then just reversed it so that, like going backwards, but watching the car reform back into its original shape.
That was really cool.
I thought that was shot really well, which makes me think they first filmed it being crushed and then reversed the film. Possibly. And you were watching it backwards.
And the effects team did a really good job.
Yes.
Carpenter did a really good job framing the shots and setting it up and directing it. This whole movie is done really well, and it really is Carpenter-esque. And that kind of brings me into my final pro.
Okay.
The scene where Ripperton is being chased by Christine down the darkened road with the headlights on him. And the car's on fire and shit. Wait, the car was on fire in that scene, right? Yeah.
It's on fire.
The car's on fire. Something about that scene just reminded me of Halloween. Just the stalking, running down the street and that car just coming behind him. And it just reminded me of Halloween so much.
I can see it.
That you could tell that this was done by the same guy. You could just tell it was shot in kind of the same way. Yes, it's a car instead of Michael. It's a guy instead of Laurie, but just so well done. I love that part. It's my favorite part of the whole film. Plus, I don't like that guy, and I love him dying, so. Guys, that's all the pros I got. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I've got one more. I've got one more for this movie. And I do like the kills in this movie. The kills in this movie are really good. Now, they're not bloody or anything, but they're done really well. John Carpenter shows that if you do it right, you can make a horror film that doesn't really have that much blood and gore. Mm-hmm. But you can still make it good.
We discussed that the other day on the Blood Spatter Trio.
Oh, yeah?
That John Carpenter has that knack that a lot of filmmakers don't have.
And you can see that
Carpenter
in this film.
did it. Tobe Hooper did it well. As much criticism as I give Tobe Hooper, because I give him a lot, he could do that well. You felt at the end of TCM that you were in a bloodbath. You felt at the end of Halloween that you were in a bloodbath, but you weren't.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. Some people have a knack for it.
Well, guys, once again, I hope you enjoyed The Castle the King Built. My name is Bronco Juggalo, and I am saying, check out my brand new merch store, new designs, new everything. I hope you guys like it. I'll put the links in the description box below. Peace.
And Bill saying, good night.
Cut off your face. The number word left a mess, we couldn't look so much alike.